from my last week's conversation about vitamin A, vitamin C, and zinc, and talk about collagen. So collagen is all the rave, as anyone's noticed, and so let me talk briefly about what collagen is, why perhaps it's become more popular, and some uses of it, and some things to be also aware of that might make it not ideal for you. So, first off, collagen is a substance that's found in animals, essentially mostly any animals that build connective tissue. So, collagen is a kind of a matrix of many different molecules and proteins and amino acids that are used in different things in the body, but primarily collagen is a structural, that is, it makes up kind of the scaffolding of materials in the body. So things like bone and joints and connective tissue, ligaments and tendons, and the fibrous material that is interwoven even within muscle fibers or within the surrounding capsules of the muscles and joints. It's in, like I said, bone and teeth and hair and nails, things that are structurally needed to be both flexible and strong. That's where collagen comes in. So those components, to get more specific in terms of nutrition, include proteins, and it's a specific chain of type of protein, specific types of amino acids that are linked together, and then those are intertwined with some minerals actually and cofactors that help hold that structure together. So a couple of key things though for building collagen. One is that you need those specific amino acids, and again, let me just define what amino acids are. Amino acids are the small structure of protein. So if you take protein, is a very complex substance that is built of primarily amino acids that are chained together, and those amino acids can twist around and interact with one another and build structure. So depending on the kinds of proteins that we're building, and like collagen, proteins are used for many other things, including structural things, immune factors, and substances that are needed to do various activities in the body. And so those proteins are made up of these long chains of amino acids that are then linked together. So collagen, like I said, is a very specific group of amino acids that are linked together. So this brings up the first issue with collagen, in which makes it something that's not, I don't want to say it's not good, but it's not, let me just put it this way, it's not a complete protein. So when we use in nutritional conversations, when we talk about complete proteins, we're talking about sources of protein that have all of the essential amino acids in them. I'm not going to rattle them off because I can't remember. There's even an acronym to remember it. I remember when I was in med school. But those 12 or 13, I can't remember, somewhere between 11 and 13, I think. 12 essential amino acids sounds good. There are also a few others that are conditionally essential for some people. Things like is it histidine and taurine, I think I recall, are non-essential. Let's see, there's a couple others. But anyway, with collagen, there's only a specific group of amino acids. It is not a complete protein. So when you supplement with collagen as a protein source, and you can get these collagen protein supplements all over now, if you're using that as a primary protein source, you need to be aware that it's not a complete protein. So what does that mean? Well, you could end up with a situation where you're actually deficient in specific amino acids if you only get your protein from a couple of sources and you're not getting the complete protein. So that's why traditionally in eating a healthy diet, we'd recommend that you eat different sources of proteins to complete them. A couple of examples include things like when we would pair grains with legumes, and you're getting those different amino acids that way. To use an example that I grew up on, peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you're getting nuts, which have a particular kind of amino acid breakdown with the grains in the bread. Using dairy, along with other meats and things, you're going to get more complete protein. I think as one example, I guess, with nuts and seeds, you get a lot of arginine, whereas with dairy, it's higher in lysine. So that's one example of some competitive two amino acids that you need different sources to get those essential ones. So back on collagen. You don't want this to be your primary protein supplement. Collagen is a structural supplement, so meaning when you take in a source of collagen, you should be thinking about, I'm using that for some of the rebuilding factors that the body needs. And so it definitely anyone could use this, but I think of this more with those that might have degenerative joint problems, osteoarthritis, even osteoporosis, which we think of as weakening bones and a mineral problem. There's also the structural issue with collagen. And so I think of it as aches and pains and joint issues. Also, say hypermobility in joints. If you constantly having to go to the chiropractor to get adjusted and you've got trouble kind of keeping in alignment. Chronic pain in joints, neck, and spine. So many, many, many uses. But when it comes to protein supplementation, you do need to use a complete protein. You can get that from food. You could use a protein powder, such as, let me grab that actually. So I'll come back to collagen in a second, but I'll just show you a couple of proteins. Probably my favorite is this paleo protein. This is from Designs for Health, pure paleo protein. This is actually hydrolyzed beef protein, so that's where they're getting it. So beef actually is a very complete amino acid. That is the meat. Milk, which they get protein from as well, is also fairly complete. However, it tends to be more of an allergen for many people, and so I see lots of problems in individuals who are constantly using whey protein, for instance. Casein is another dairy protein, is also hard to break down and digest, and so I'm not a huge fan of that. Once in a while, if you're not dairy sensitive, alternating dairies, you could have some dairy. Obviously, I'm not anti-dairy for anybody who's watched me talk about the keto diet, but dairy has a number of issues. Maybe I'll do another broadcast. We'll cover dairy and the problems that are often going on there. So anyway, hydrolyzed beef protein. They've got different flavors. It doesn't taste like beef, by the way. It's plain. It's totally neutral. They do have chocolate, vanilla, and plain. This one I also like. It's from pea protein. You're seeing pea protein popping up all over the place as well, which I think is cool. Pea protein is a fairly complete protein as well. I think it's a good replacement if you are trying to avoid the dairy proteins, and also if you are, say, a vegetarian or vegan, which maybe I'll do an episode on veganism. So this one's good to mix it up. I like them both. I like the best of both worlds. So I think any diet that's very extreme, just as it's not healthy for a human to be totally living off of meat all the time, I don't think it's healthy to be totally living off plants. You can do it, but some people aren't going to do very well from that. So again, don't use one protein all the time, alternate them. I like to go back and forth between a couple. So back on collagen. So as I mentioned, it's a structural component of joints, and it's something that it can be very helpful. A couple of key nutrients that help support the collagen. One I mentioned last week was vitamin C. This is just a particular branded one called esterol. And I did mention the mineral ascorbates, so that ascorbic acid is vitamin C. Vitamin C is an acid, and it's not like an acid in terms of harmful. However, the mineral ascorbate form of vitamin C, as I mentioned, is less acidic. It's buffered, and it's also the benefit of giving you some of those cofactor or those minerals that are bound to it. Also the flavonoids I mentioned. The flavonoids like rutin, quercetin, and the grapeseed extract, those are essentially antioxidants. They help sort of regenerate vitamin C and help it work better. So when you build connective tissue and collagen structure in the body, you need vitamin C available. And so you could take all the collagen in the world, and if you were severely vitamin C deficient, you're not going to use that very well. So I'll give you by the way, so collagen, I first was introduced to collagen from one of my mentors. Gosh, how long ago was that? Probably about 20 years ago. It was called Colorad or something. I wonder if that's still around. It was a liquid hydrolyzed collagen, and so we're talking 20 years ago, and it was very interesting. It was found. I think they were using it originally in farming with chickens, and they were giving them collagen and noticed some improvements, and so they began to make collagen supplements for supplementation for humans. And just as sort of some background on collagen, why is collagen helpful? It's interesting because a lot of the supplements that pop up on the market, they end up filling a niche because our modern diets have become very depleted and devoid of certain things. And so we've got the vitamins and minerals, we've got all these supplements out there now, protein supplements. If we had ideal sources of food all the time and our digestion was working A-OK all the time, we really shouldn't need supplements, right? We wouldn't really be alive, and humans would have died off the planet a long time ago if we needed supplements, because we've only been using these for the last 50, maybe 100 years. So collagen is actually extracted from animals, and so if you've ever cooked meat, or especially with bone in, if you roast a turkey, if you cook fish, if you cook beef and lamb, whatever it is, you'll notice that the oils come out, and you'll also see that there's kind of that gel. So that gel is collagen, and gelatin. Gelatin is a component of collagen as well. So all of those, that's all those structural amino acids coming out, and when they cool off, they form a gel. And so that kind of jelly-like stuff is actually the collagen. So collagen is just a cousin of bone broths and the old traditions of doing cooking stocks where you use the bone. So obviously when you cook meat, you're going to get a little bit of collagen out of the meat, but most of it's coming from the joints and bone. And so you kind of need the whole thing, the whole bird. So every year, usually with the turkey after Thanksgiving, I don't like eating turkey for weeks or a week after. I'll keep a little bit up for leftovers, but I usually take all that along with the bones and I put it in a giant pot and I cook it for 2 days and make a bone broth essentially. And that's liquid gold. So of course get good quality animals so you have clean bone broth. And you're getting tons of the minerals, the cofactors, the building blocks, the amino acids. You're getting the collagen structure all in the bone broth. So not all of us can do that, and I only do it like once a year. And so I do think, obviously, we do supplements for convenience sake. Personally, I have used collagen on and off over the years, but I began to do it again when I was at a meeting discussing this product with the rep from Orthomolecular, and I was presented with the research on this. They actually, what they've done is they've taken the gelatin hydrolysate, so that's just hydrolyzed gelatin. Essentially, that's where the collagen's coming from. And then Tendoactive, these are some proprietary extracts. Tendoactive is kind of the glycosides, or it's the sugars. It's not sugars in terms of what we think dietary sugars, but they're structural components that help bind and bring collagen binding together. And then this Mobile is a hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is also part of the building structure for collagen. By the way, so glucosamine, chondroitin, hyaluronic acid, these are all various factors and components of collagen. Collagen's kind of the larger molecule that's put together, and a lot of times what's going on is we're digesting this into its discrete components, and then the body has to rebuild it. But these 3 ingredients in here actually have been shown in older adults to regenerate cartilage and regenerate the joint structure. That's a big deal because modern medicine has said that as the joints degrade and degenerate, and we get this bone on bone, and people are getting knee replacement, hip replacements, shoulders, all that stuff, when that they're saying, oh, you know, that's once that's gone, that's gone. Well, truth is that's not true. It turns out that we can actually all throughout life continue to rebuild that structure. We just need to get the body those building blocks and give it what it's needed. And so the degeneration of joints is not just an inevitable part of aging, it's really a deficiency state and a state of inflammation that's going on in individuals. So chronic high blood sugar, hypertension, getting toxins in your food from eating poor quality, and of course the nutritionally devoid diets. You're not getting those basic building blocks and nutrients to build the joints. You're in a constant state of inflammation, and it's actually pulling those minerals, essential minerals, out of the body, and you're losing that, and you're losing joints. After an injury, you're going to have a focal point of inflammation, and if you can address that and get healing going, you can actually heal. Now, some people, because of a major injury, and there's a point of no return, I'm sure, when that is, we can't really say in one person to the next. But if you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, and even 60s, and you're being recommended or say that, hey, in the future you've got a joint replacement in your future, I would highly recommend that you get on this, in this specific one, at least with these cofactors, or start making bone broths by all means, and getting your vitamin C. And by the way, things like zinc and boron and other essential minerals, silica, those are all important structural mineral parts that help to build that connective tissue as well. So I'll kind of get ready to wrap up here. With collagen supplementation, here's how I recommend that you do this. So in studies, it was shown that collagen rebuilding happens predominantly at night. And so what originally in the collagen research and use, what was being done is they would have you supplement with that hydrolyzed collagen before bed. And it makes a lot of sense. So instead of eating it when you're eating a lot of other food and proteins with other mixed amino acids, you're going to get some of the collagen in, but it's going to be all digested and mixed with all that other stuff. Most of us go to bed with a relatively empty stomach, and you take that collagen powder on an empty stomach, you're going to have those building blocks ready for the rebuilding process as you sleep. Also, I would recommend taking some vitamin C with it. This actually has 100 milligrams of vitamin C per serving. So they're giving you some. That's the basic minimum amount. I would probably recommend that you get more. As I mentioned last week, I recommend you're getting a few thousand per day of vitamin C. So if you're just looking for a quick, one thing, you could do this and get that vitamin C as well. I also put a little bit of magnesium in here as well, part of that structural issue. So anyway, I think that's it. I hope that some of you who watch this live, or if you are watching this on replay, that you'll make comments and ask questions. If you're using collagen, let me know how that's going and what you've found and discovered. Oh, I forgot. I kind of dropped this hint earlier. When would you not want to do collagen? So as I mentioned, for younger people, of course, kids and young adults who aren't eating as nutritionally as they should, they're probably going to benefit from collagen as well. But getting those essential foods mainly for kids. But again, like I said, I don't think collagen is a primary supplement that kids should need and should take if they're getting some have a good diet. By the way, get meats and select cuts that are with the bone in there and some joint. Get your crock pot going this winter, or your timed pressure cooker, And get the meat with the bone in, and you're going to, it's going to taste a lot better. It's found that when you cook meat with these factors that come out of the bone, you've got all these minerals and the things that actually add to the flavor and taste of the meat. And then you've got the essential building blocks of those minerals and collagen in there too. But slow cooking bone-in meat is the way to go. And so the other area that I forgot to mention was that when you supplement with collagen, those amino acids that are in here, there is a number of them that are contribute to something called gluconeogenesis. And what does that mean? Well, that means that the amino acids, there are certain amino acids that can turn into sugar in the body, and you don't want to overconsume amino acids that can do that. And so this is the issue with a ketogenic diet, is you really don't want to supplement with excessive amounts of protein in general. But with collagen, there is a number of amino acids that can turn into sugar. Again, taking it as directed once before bed, I think you're not going to have much of an issue with that. But don't be just, oh yeah, collagen, I'm going to do this 2 and 3 times a day. And this is true of other amino acid protein supplements, is don't overconsume protein. If you are on a low carb, high fat diet, you should be getting a moderate amount of protein, which is depending on your sex, age, and body weight and mass and what your activity level is. Most of us, it's somewhere between, say, 50 to 100 grams of protein per day. Not 150, not 200, 300. I mean, I've had people come into me who are often athletes, but they are really loading it up with protein. Not only will that contribute to blood sugar, but it will also acidify the body. You can develop more likely, you can get kidney stones. It's hard on your kidneys. It can leach minerals out of your bones when you're that acidic. And so, and again, with protein supplements, it's easy just to get too much if you're getting it from your diet. Get a serving of protein with most of your meals. So anyway, that's the point about don't go excessive on the protein side. And don't forget those essential fats in your diet, of course. And but use collagen. Let me know what you think. Please subscribe, and here's some links if you want to see some more of these live stream videos. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.